Kemetic Minds back for another video. In this video, we're looking at the scripture Deuteronomy 17:2-5. Basically, this is what's referenced by many people with a certain theology that basically numerology and astrology is satanic. So what does this scripture say? If a man or woman living among you or in one of the towns the Lord gives you is found doing evil in the eyes of the Lord, your God, in violation of his covenant, and contrary to my command has worshipped other gods, bowing down to them or the sun or the moon or the stars in the sky, and this has been brought to your attention, then you must investigate it thoroughly. If it is true and it has been proved that this detestable thing has been done in Israel, take the man or woman who has done this evil deed to your city gate and stone that person to death. Verse 6 says, on the testimony of 2 or 3 witnesses, a person is to be put to death, but no one is to be put to death on the testimony of only one witness. The hands, verse 7, the hands of the witness must be the first in putting that person to death, and then the hands of all the people. You must purge the evil from among you. Okay, the next scripture that is referenced in regards to numerology or astrology is Isaiah 47:13, which states, stand fast now in your spells and in your many sorcerers with which you have labored from your youth. Perhaps you will be able to profit, perhaps you may cause trembling. Verse 13, you are wearied with your many counsels. Let now the astrologers, those who prophesy by the stars, those who predict by the new moons, stand up and save you from what will come upon you. Verse 14, behold, they have become more stubble, fire burns them, they cannot deliver themselves from the power of the flame. There will be no coal to warm by nor a fire to sit before. Okay, so this is my view using my own logic. So when speaking with someone on this issue, which is difficult without most people getting upset or emotional because I'm questioning their faith, many people have invested so much time, money, and faith in many of these religions, but never question the origins or use their own logic. So logic, according to many believers, is something that people should leave up to God to do, while we regular folk just use our brain God gave us to draw conclusions. After all, you could go to hell for trying to bring your own view into understanding scripture, according to some Bible believers. As far as I'm concerned, I can use my own logic because the Creator gave me that right. If he would send me to hell for viewing different than him, then he is in fact a hypocrite. And a hypocrite is a person who is works in contradiction to his or her stated beliefs or feelings. First question to Bible believers. Who created the sun, stars, and the moon? Most Bible believers will say, God, Yeshua, Jehovah, Jesus. So if it is true that the God that wrote the Bible created the moon, the sun, the stars, why would he sentence people to be stoned to death or have fire burn them for viewing the stars and making human predictions and forecasts? Truth is, he wouldn't. Example, if a father gave a child a book, then later on the son began to write his own book with a different set of beliefs, then how can the father get mad? The father gave his son the book and gave the son the choice on what information was given to the child. The father can't get mad if the son comes up with his own knowledge based on the book, period. Okay, so question number 2. You have Isaiah 47:13-14, which states the following. Those who predict by the moons, in verse 14 says, behold, they have become like stubble. Fire burns them. They cannot deliver themselves from the power of the flame. So once again, when we're talking about the moon and the moon phases, there's times where the moon creates high tide, and there's times where humans have certain effects on their bodies when there is a full moon. So why do certain religious people still listen to meteorologists, which study the high tide caused by the moon to make predictions that can save lives? And this is just showing a newscaster. This is showing the weather blog with the tidal forecast. So they, these weather meteorologists look at the moon phases to make predictions, surf tide and things that save lives. But yet this is demonized as being something you should burn for or stone to death for knowing about or studying to make predictions. So according to that scripture I just mentioned, you can expect fire to come your way if you even study the moon. On top of this, why do Jehovah's Witnesses point out the full moon that is supposed to show up on the memorial of Jesus' death? Question number 3. Where is the evidence that Satan will influence you after reading, listening, or practicing astrology? My answer: there is always a negative and positive vibration to everything in this world. For example, if you take a piece of peanut butter and a piece of paper, and then let's say you light it up on fire to burn up a house in a revenge plot, that would be pretty evil. That would be the negative vibration. But the positive vibration would be that you can eat the peanut butter on a piece of bread as a snack or cracker. I would recommend just eating the peanut butter, but I'll say that for another video. So it all depends on who is doing the astrology reading. So let's look quickly at what astrology means for a moment. The astrological beliefs and correspondences between celestial observations and terrestrial events, Terra meaning the earth, right? Remember Terra, the earth, have influenced various aspects of human history, including worldviews, language, and many elements of social culture. Early evidence of such practices appears as markings on bones and cave walls, which show that lunar cycles were being noted as early as 25,000 years ago, and that's a Wikipedia source. So we know full and well. Some people speculate that the Sphinx is 10,000 plus years old or older. Some people even say 50,000 years old. Dr. Delbert Blair said a large number as well. If you're going to say that numerology and astrology is satanic, then, you also have to say that the Egyptians were Satanists, because, once again, when we talk about numerology, Pythagoras studied in Memphis, which is a part of Egypt, okay? And he got most of his knowledge from ancient antiquity. He's given credit for some of the things in regards to mathematics as well as music. But once again, this history was stolen from Egypt, and I'm sure it's the watered down version of what the ancient Kemetic ancestors knew about. So some religions are told to not look at other information such as third-party sources, and only to believe what the religion provides you with. So some people will look at, Wikipedia or Google references and laugh. But I laugh at the fact that you only believe what your master gives you. Okay, some people only believe what master gives them. It's just, a very simple way to debunk a religion. As a black person, figure out what was happening, or melanated, what was happening during the time that religion was being created. Was it very peaceful events for black people when that religion was first being formed, or not? And you'll get an idea of what was the real agenda behind some of these faiths. So for those of you who studied Freemasonry, you understand that the pyramid scheme that we have lived under at this time, the world works in opposites. When religion tells you don't look at the sun, it is opposite for many melanated black people, which the sun can be good for us. Now, many people, have a debate about whether the sun is good or bad. I would say the evening and morning sun is probably the best time to do sun gazing and being in the sun. In the evening and morning times, probably after 4 p.m., depending on what your time zone is. But these are powerful times to be in front of the sun. Now, there's multiple sources, Even Asada Shakur mentioned that how good the sunlight is for us. You do a simple Google search, you'll see that many melanated people can't generate vitamin D as well if they don't get enough sunlight. Okay, so at least 2 hours of sunlight is what's recommended. So once again, certain religions call people worldly, but I'm sure if they drop their keys at the grocery store and the worldly person sees that on the ground, are they still going to be considered worldly? Well, yes, so they would still be considered, worldly, because they don't follow the guidelines set out by the religious organization. So even though the creator of that organization was a Freemason, it doesn't matter because they claim they have things all cleaned up, even though that same organization is still covering up things at this moment. And I just listed a couple of things they're covering up at this moment. And once again, shame on the people who knew melanated people were being oppressed when the organization was being created. Shame on those who know that he was admitting, this person was admitting he was a Freemason in ties to the 13 bloodlines of the Illuminati. Shame on those who are treating people badly, who don't believe in your beliefs, and power to the person that has no ill will despite the oppression from these organizations. Okay. We look at numerology on the Bible. What is numerology? It's just the branch of knowledge that deals with the occult significance of numbers. Occult doesn't necessarily immediately mean black magic. Occult is that which is hidden. That is the knowledge of the hidden. Okay, knowledge that is hidden. Occult mysteries. Okay, it was a mystery system that Pythagoras and many of the Greeks that were in Kemet, also known as Egypt, they were trying to figure out the mystery systems and were taught that knowledge from the Egyptian priests. So much of numerology is given credit to Pythagoras. Pythagoras studied in Kemet once again. So the true origin comes out of Africa and early civilizations who used numbers to make calculations and build megalithic structures. So the hidden meaning of numbers and letters is something that is not satanic. And if the usage is not satanic, it is not satanic. So here is another example of a negative usage and positive usage. Once again, I take a shoe and break a stink bomb on the shoe and throw it inside of a church. That's a negative. Positive, I take a shoe and walk with it. So the way that I use numerology is to see if there are words that link up with other words. The English alphabet is number 1 through 26, A through Z in letters. And there can be a negative and a positive person, place, or thing associated with Pythagorean numerology. It depends on who's doing the numerology. Okay, so my knowledge is still increasing, but it's important to remember that there is nothing evil about numbers and words adding up to related words. Let me give you the positive traits, for example. The number 22 in Pythagorean numerology equals aglow, capable, gallant, heed, ideal, modest, and nice. Capable totals to 22 in Pythagorean numerology. The negative side of this number 22 equals aloof, biased, bore, dismal, fret, jumpy, and rage. Okay, these are our negative traits. And also storm. Okay, so all that sums to 22. Here's your totals. And then 2 plus 2 equals 4. That's what's on the other side of this number when you use this calculator. And of course, I leave links to this on my website. And it's here at the top. It all depends on what your source is. Unfortunately, many people only look at the Bible and have this terrified idea that the boogeyman is going to get them. And the Bible does have truths in it, but there are also evidence to show that it is truth mixed with lies and a bunch of contradictions that don't make any logical sense whatsoever. I'll save that for a later article because there are many more important things to discuss at this moment. You guys got to be careful of disinformation, people that are rampant upon the internet. You need to fact check these people. that have been put into these positions that seem so knowledgeable, but they do not give any facts. They don't show you any evidence. They just make stuff up as they go, and they're just making up information. They may have read one thing that was true, but then made up all of these other things in relation to that one thing that is true. Okay, there's agents out there, there's disinformation operatives, there's people who are just ignorant and cocky, and they don't give you the truth. You have to fact check people, and you have to learn how to do research. I'm still learning, but and people who think they know it all, you got to be careful of them too, because they could be disinformation operatives and people who are trying to manipulate the public on the internet. There's psychological operations being run right now on the internet. Okay, I know that anybody who comes out with some facts and some real truth, you get shut down real quick. Okay, now I had 2 channels that I had to shut down, that it took me years to build up, and unfortunately, because of identity theft, I had to shut down, and it was hurtful. But at the same time, I do believe that good things happen to good people. Okay, but you have to fact check people. Okay, and in terms of numerology or astrology being demonic, once again, the planets have effect on humans, and that's facts. You can look that up and you can feel it yourself. I know when I'm asleep and I don't feel good and the sun rays hit me while I'm laying down, or I'm feeling tired or ill and the sun hits me, I'm ready to move around. Okay, a lot of times. So it's just understanding, what goes on. Think about times where you've had arguments with somebody and it was a full moon outside. Think about how accurate some of these birth chart and other information is in reality. When we talk about the Freemasons creating astrology, once again, where did they get their knowledge? They got their knowledge from the original Master Masons, okay? The ancient Kemites, Kemetic Egyptian ancestors that were great at architecture and geometry and things of that nature. And so, this knowledge of how they built the pyramids and etc. Look, there's evidence of electromagnetic energy that they had knowledge of in other ancient cultures. So, to me, it's very possible that the ancient ancestors knew how to tap into that energy. They knew how to use that magnetic energy as well as sound to manipulate matter. Because sound, I think it was Pythagoras that also believed that sound, every object had a resonance, and so did the planets. Matter had a resonance to it, a sound resonance, a vibration to it. And if you knew how to manipulate that vibration, like we see with some sound experiments, you can levitate objects. And so I believe that they had a mixture of that knowledge, and you could even say extraterrestrials. But the problem that I have with extraterrestrials is finding an actual carcass that everybody can go verify is real. Okay, and not something that's made up. Okay, and some people, can actually peer review and test, okay, yeah, this is real extraterrestrial. We have found skulls, which is the Star Child skulls and things of that nature from Lloyd Pye, but even that, I have to look further into that. But anyways, I find Pythagorean numerology to be very accurate. I think this has a lot to do with the Egyptian Kemetic ancestors of old, and it is our knowledge. It's probably watered down knowledge. There's no telling how deep this rabbit hole goes in terms of the hole that's been created in terms of their theft by the Greeks. And so we're trying to put the pieces of the puzzle back together. But to me, I want to reiterate once again, it's important to know, to me it was important to know, where did numbers come from? who was the originator, who gave things certain certain meaning. You look at the word religion, it has the word lie in it. Why do certain words have the word lie in it? Is that an accident? You know, why do we call a storm a storm? You know, why is the alphabet language A through Z and not A through N? You know, like, this is stuff that they don't even talk about in school. And putting the pieces to this puzzle is great because I can teach this knowledge and give my insight on this information. Okay, so that's it for this video. Share, like, and comment, and subscribe. Stay tuned. Be careful of disinformation on the internet. Please, fact check me. Go to my site, click those links if you have the time. I try to be as accurate as I can possibly be, but I find, once again, with numerology, it depends on who is using the numerology. Are they Satanists, or are they good people that just want to look up one of the English alphabets and see if there's a correlation between two other words, okay, which can often give you a pattern that is repeatable. And words we know the Freemasons use and put numbers inside of news articles, but you can also take you can take other words that are positive and find positive traits as well.